Hello.
Yeah. Hmm. Yep, blah, 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 blah. Yep, blah, blah, blah. I haven't had to... Yep, got my water, got the camera. The air conditioning is running. Well, not the air conditioning. I talked about you at work. Why did you talk about me at work? Hang on a second. What about? This is very important. What the fuck did you talk? Why are you talking about me at your work? Why are you talking about this furry autistic shit at work? Actually, no. Let me revert those words. Why are you talking about this autistic furry at work? It is a very important question. Also, hopefully, I have not Yep, cool. I'm not muted. Blah 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 blah. Yes, I make these noises. I'm gonna be real with you, chat. I'm in a bit of a mood. Like, I don't know. Have you ever had those kinds of days where like you weren't expecting like big things to happen? Like you just wanted to go about it, and then there was something that was like, oh, you have an opportunity to do this thing, and you're like, oh, okay, well, that's something new. I want to give this a try. Like, how bad could this be? Like, trying to do a good thing, and then it just like fucking like, okay, let me tell you how my day went then, so you can probably understand like what my mood is like, okay? So, like, I went into work, like, business as usual kind of thing, and because I normally go into the office and what have you, and for some reason, for Wellness Month, they brought in like these two like road bikes, like these very thin racing road bikes, and the idea is that it was connected up to like some weird like resistor machine that was Bluetooth connected. So then that way you could like measure speed and wattage generated and all this kind of such. And they were like, oh, hey, like if you like cycle a certain distance, or if you cycle a lot, you run into the chance of getting maybe like some coupons for Rebel Sport, or maybe even like a sound bar or something like that. And I was like, I was not planning on this kind of thing. Next thing I see in my team of like other desktop support peeps, they're getting their tank tops, they're getting their fucking board shorts or exercise shorts, and they're like, oh, we're so ready, cracking necks, stretching legs and everything. They're like they're ready to fire. They're ready to go. Wait, what am I missing the message? So we were selling the marshmallow plushies, and we have a pink zebra one, and I said I love zebras. Mentioned you were someone I know who streams, and your channel mascot is, oh yeah, like this little thingy majiggy there. Was he like that shape, or was it like the strawberry marshmallow thing? Anywho, sorry. While you're into that, back to like where I am right now, where the members of my desktop support team are, getting real into it and what have you, and they're like, they're doing their stretches, they're getting ready, and they're like, oh, we got to go hard on this, and it's like a 30-minute session on a bicycle. They go through this thing, and they're at like, 8 kilometers in 30 minutes, 10 kilometers in 30 minutes. And then there's one guy who never does cardio, but he's like super jacked, is 13 kilometers in 30 minutes. And I'm like, these sound like relatively slow times. Like I've been able to like absolutely bang it 30 kilometers an hour on the Bicentennial in Brisbane. If you don't live in Brisbane, beside the river is like a walkway and a bike lane. And it's completely separate from the road, which is amazing. Like the road is up here, there's a cliff, and then there's a what's a Mahuzi think you're a Brizzy boy, so you know the city? Cool. Some people don't know this shit, Bookie. Some people like I'm glad that you're in this chat, because you understand, like, because you have to be a certain speed a lot of the times on that Bicentennial. Because like sometimes, thank you for the boobs, Masonic. Sometimes like there are cyclists that are just gonna be like, and they're just gonna be like fucking fanging it, but they're always in groups. So if you're not going fast enough, it's a so you're just sort of like, God damn it. So you have to like sort of keep up. So then that way they're not just using you for drag. Next to the river, oof. Yes. Any whoosies. So I wasn't planning on this thing, but after hearing like people getting like 8 to 10 kilometers in 30 minutes, I was like, oh, that, like, I feel like I can do it. And they're like, yeah, I can do like 20 kilometers an hour. And I'm like, yes, I've definitely done like 24 or 30 kilometers an hour. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give it a try. By the by, I'm in jeans and a polo shirt when doing this, and like, you don't have like any like committed spin class people. Hey, Alvirus, not my shirt. Everyone throws stuff at Grant. Not yet. Lol. Any whoosies. Where was I in my train of thought? So I'm getting onto this bicycle, and I'm absolutely ready to fang it and such like that. And I'm just sort of like I don't know how people have been cycling, but they've not been cycling with like high resistance, and they've just been. And I was able to just go like boom. But the minute I want to sit down on this bike seat, it is pain. Like I can't sit on this thing, and then like anytime I wanted to cycle, like my thigh like would just like, it was like this weird pinching thing with the bicycle seat, and it was absolutely painful. I could not sit on the bicycle and like just go at an even pace, and I couldn't stand up. And because I'm used to like, when you're actually fanging it, you do like this slow, like this small, like little bit of an adjustment where it's like, if you're pushing on your right foot, you kind of have this thing of like sort of leaning your arms to the right and tilting the bike in the opposite direction or something like that. And then it's like, you repeat, and you're just like boom, boom, boom. I couldn't do it standing up because the bike was stationary, and I just like, and it didn't. So in like 3 minutes, I did like 1.2 kilometers or something like that. And that was when I was like sort of being like, oh, this feels terrible. And then like getting off the bike, trying to adjust the seat. Maybe the seat is too high or something like that. Nope. Like it was just uncomfortable as fuck. I don't know if it was just like everyone's having this discomfort, and I'm just like, autistic heavy at this point. Like that decided to be my thing. And I just could not like get comfortable in the seat, eat, and do my cycling and such like that. I couldn't like just stand up to do it either, like, because that one just felt like a little bit annoying to do, because every time it's like I want to do like the distance and what have you, and it's like doesn't feel right on a bicycle that you can't lean. So like in 3 minutes, in 3 minutes, I was just like, nah, I'm just fuck it. This isn't great. I'm not enjoying this. And it's like, stop the thingy-majiggy. And then my feet are just sort of like, no, I want to keep going. Like muscles in the thighs were just like, they were a little bit tense, but it was like, it was more of that. And I just had like this energy in my leg, in like my body and mostly in my legs of like, I want to keep going. I want to move and such. I'm just so annoyed. It was such a dumb seat. Hi there, Furry Cures. So that just soured my mood. This goddamn bike seat soured my mood because it was like I wasn't even trying, and it's like I couldn't like sit on this thing, and it's like I did not and I wasn't gonna like go like standing up and all this kind of such, and it's like so now like on our leaderboard of like the few people who have done the exercise, like we have like all these different peeps that are like 13, 10, 10, 8, and then there's me with 1.24. And I'm just sort of like, I don't want to go through that I don't want to do another bicycle session to like extend the length of kilometers that I can cycle and such, because the seat is just so annoying. And then like one of the buddies at work is like, oh yeah, but that's just how all seats are. You go cycle them. He's just like, that's how all seats are. Is they're just a little sucky to sit on. And I'm like, absolutely not. That you should not feel
now,
like
that is what we call
like the hip and issue. Like thigh thingy madiggy. Like it shouldn't be a thing where like it does like this weird pinching feeling when you're sitting on the bike, and like I don't think it was an ass thing either. Like I don't think I had like a dump truck or something like that was ruining me being able to like sit and lean back or something like that. It was quite specifically because I wanted to do my cycle, but it was like So yeah. So that was what my afternoon was like. And work was boring, so I was just thinking about that the whole time. And then I like was making my way home and I was like, I don't know why this is my comfort thing, but what are we talking about? We're talking about my we're talking about my experience at work with like one of the stationary bicycles where the idea was like you cycled a certain distance or something, or you cycled as far as you could in like 30 minutes, and it was all for like the Tour de Force charity or something like that. And I couldn't stand sitting in this thing for like 3 minutes, not because like my legs were exhausted, like they probably could have been if I went for longer, but I just could not stand sitting in this like this god-awful, like, extra hard, small bicycle seat and, like, doing the cycling and such. It was absolutely terrible. And it just soured my mood until, in the afternoon, I'm taking the train back home, and I'm just in a, like, this is probably, like, one of my least favorite of my, like, guilty pleasures and such like that I can't kick, but, like, I like eating hamburgers and like junk food to like be happy and such. And so I ordered like on the train ride. So then that way I was under the premise of, oh yeah, like I'll arrive at home. It will just arrive maybe just before I did or something like that. And that will like help like, lift my mood before I, go into streaming and what have you. I arrive home, it's not there yet, but I do have an Amazon package for some smart Wi-Fi like electrical monitor plugs, because I can't read like the electrical meter for my unit. I only have like the panel that's inside the apartment. I can't get into the closet with all the electrical meters. And I asked the real estate agents, hey, I want to get in there so I can monitor my electricity on like a day-to-day basis, and they're just sort of like, oh no, like you don't need to do that. The electrical company will tell you like what your meter reading is and such. And I'm like, that's good if I only wanted to know for like the next once every 3 months, but I want to be able to do like a more scientific measurement of, okay, utilizing these electronics, I'm using about this much a day. If I take these out of like my daily usage, I can save this much. Because I was very much of the thought that, oh, is it like some of the appliances in my living room, or is it the fact that I'm running so much shit in this study? Is it because of the light? Is it because of the fan? What is it? And I knew, and I know I can't, and I wanted to like just get like a good metric, and I can't do that. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just get an electrical monitor plug, and I'm gonna plug it into like the living room. So then that way I can get an electrical monitoring of like all the stuff in there, because a lot of it should be on standby, and I want to get a measurement of like, oh, if nothing is running, how much energy is being used or something like that. And then turn on like my Unraid NAS and see how much energy is being used there, and seeing whether or not you know, it would be worth canceling all my subscriptions and just running a media server on Unraid. Not everyone has a thick zebra butt. I work hard for that butt as well. I turn off everything electrical in my room before I sleep. You'd be surprised how much the idle lights on TVs and monitors can cost. And like, yeah, exactly. So like for the last like week or two, I've actually had the like the stuff in the living room switched off, like at the wall as well. So like TV isn't idle, nothing's charging, the PlayStation isn't on, you can't turn on the NAS, you can't turn on the Nintendo dock that's there. There's only the Nintendo dock here at my desk. And so I was able to get a 2-pack. Unfortunately, if I want to plug in any of those like smart Wi-Fi thingamajiggies, they're so bulky that I can't have anything else. Not even like an extension board like plug thing, where it's not even like, where it's just like the flat plug, low profile with the cable to the side. I can't plug that in while one of the smart Wi-Fi things is plugged in right beside it. It's just too thick, and there isn't enough of a clearance, and I'm just so pissed off with that. Actually, hang on a second. There might be a way for, because like the lighthouse, I don't know if it's long enough though. It could be long enough. It could be long enough that it trails down, and I just like maybe snake it around one side of the room, but that's like 2 point something readers. That's like 3 meters. That's good. That's like, I don't think I have like 6+ meters of lead on the valve. Actually, how long are the cables? This is what it's like in my brain as I explain to you like why I'm in such a mood. You're always long enough. Why did that go through my... Hang on a second. Why did that... Speakers... More sound settings. Hang on. That went through the output devices. No, we're not troubleshooting that. More. Speakers for the thingy-madiggy. Yep, that's the output. So why did the... Oh, hang on. Wave link. And then the monitor mix goes to the default. So now if I do it... Nice! There we go. That's what we... Oh. Alright, hang on a sec. Valve in... I can't type... Valve index... lighthouse... stuff. Oh, wait, no. It's the, power cable. It, like, maybe it will tell me, like, how long... the power cable is, because the Valve Index base station, so they only have the EU and the UK. Specifications, it doesn't tell me the length. Hang on, I need to put that into the, all right, base station power cable length, there we go. 8 meters or 2.5, or 8 feet or 2.5 meters. Oh, that's not enough. Wait, hang on. Base station includes via the 4.5 meet. Okay, so it's 4.5 meters on the Valve Index base stations, not... I was looking at the HTC Vibes. But yeah, so I was trying to do like this power monitoring thingamajiggy, and I got a 2-pack because I wanted to plug it into the living room where all the electrical stuff is, and I also wanted to plug it in here to monitor what the power is on my PC, like my main PC. And I couldn't do that if I wanted to keep the lighthouse connected to that one port. I'd have to like snake it into... I might just have to snake it and put it into the power thingy-majiggy that's under here, but that's just so annoying. And by the time by the time I got through, oh my gosh, you're an Isaac. By the time I was trying to get through all that stuff and trying to get the thingy majiggy plugged in to like my iPhone, like to monitor the thingy majiggy, I got a call. The DoorDash person was just like, "Hey, I'm here," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool. I'm in an apartment. Like, I gave you the code. You can get up there and drop it off. I'm a little busy." And they're like, "Oh, no, I can't get out of the car. My foot is sore. Can you come pick it up?" I look back at this and I'm like, this is like probably the third or fourth time that this particular driver has done this. I don't normally rate drivers because they're doing their job and what have you. I'm not a huge fan of the like, because if you've seen Community with the meow meow beings, I'm not a fan of like the rating systems being like, oh, it's either 5 stars or it's 0 stars. It's a very extremist view because no one rates like 3 to 4 stars. Like if you rate, because here's the thing, in an enterprise mindset, like 3 out of 5 is you're doing the barest minimum. You are operating at the same level as everyone else in the industry, technically speaking. You're not bringing anything new, but you're not breaking anything. 4 stars is when you do something a little bit better that not everyone is doing, but a few people are doing. And then 5 stars is when, you're bringing something unique to the table. Like that is uniquely your thing. Like that's how rating systems are supposed to work. If you give someone like a 3 stars on DoorDash or Uber Eats or something, it's a case of like warning, terrible service. And I'm like, no, it's just 3 stars. It's average. Just calm down. And they're like, warning, 3 stars. I had a delivery driver a few weeks ago, and my lord, I didn't know I ordered dessert. If it was a freebie dessert, maybe that's something interesting. But if they're missing stuff, that's a problem. But yeah, like, so I stop what I'm doing with like the electrical thingamajiggies and such like that. Get my keys, go outside, go downstairs, and I get to the car, and the guy's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, one of the cups like opened up or something like that." One of the cups didn't just open up. One of the cups spilled. The bottom of the bag is just drenched in Coke. My order is ruined. Like one of the cups is like half empty with no, and like I'm pretty sure there's no ice because it actually like legitimately tipped over. And he's like saying it's like, oh, he couldn't have seen it done this because the tapes were on it. And I'm like, you could feel the bottom of the bag. And the minute I like look in the bag, it's like the bottom of the thingamajiggy. Hi, Jason, I'm complaining. I am in such a mood because this DoorDash. He doesn't go to the house. He doesn't go to the door. He gets me to leave my apartment, to get down the elevator, to go to the car that he's like just sort of stuck on the driveway, and the bottom of the bag is drenched through. And then when I decide to like open to double check, everything is soaked through. And I'm a bit of a glutton. I will be real with you, because there's like 2 drinks, two burgers, 2 fries. I am a glutton. But it was so infuriating that like for the 3rd or 4th time with this particular driver not getting out of their car because their foot is sore or something like that. One, like, are you? Yeah. So they do that, and I get this bag, and it's like the entire thing is soaked through, and I'm like, I'm not accepting this. Like this is like, how did you not know this thing tipped over? Did you not think to like be a little more like, oh? And so the guy is just sort of like, going through like the support on his side, and like, oh, they want a photo, and I've already hold down to the bag, and he's just like, could you put it down and you take a photo with my phone? And I'm just like, this guy doesn't leave his car, and he's like, can you give him a call? And I'm like, fine, I'll get like, or they'll give me a call shortly. I step away because their customer support calls me, and I'm like, yeah, the entire thing is soaked through, every item is ruined, and the guy doesn't leave his car. I had to like get out of my apartment and all this kind of such. And they're like, oh, do you want like a refund or do you want credit? And I'm like, I know I'm not going to get the full refund. I'll go for credit at it because that one's like more immediate and such. And he says, yep, sure. And then I asked the guy on the phone, it's like, what do I do with the thing that's ruined? He's like, oh, just throw it away. Hey, the guy in the car is like, no, I take it because they might ask for photos afterwards. And I'm like, okay, fine. Bottom of the bag drenched through, handed it to him. The Coke is literally dripping onto his lap. And he he like goes away and such. I check my phone. I don't even get refunded for the entire order. I got refunded for like one of the for a partial, and I'm just sort of like, no. And like, yeah, just that entire like my my afternoon ruined. The seat was absolutely terrible. My evening ruined. And I'm just coming into this now after like just venting to you for the last 25 minutes. The glutton for punishment. You know, that's probably it. When a DoorDash owner is ruined, you keep it and document everything. So yeah. So that person, so like that particular driver, that one I've actually decided to do a review, and I, rated it unprofessional, noting of like, hey, this person for like the third or fourth time now has not left his car and has asked me to leave my premises to pick up the order. And then I went, and then like DoorDash has a thing of like, oh, how was your order? And I'm like, terrible. And it like not a fault of the restaurant, but the fault of the dasher, because it's in like terrible quality, spilt drink and such. And then they are like, able to be like, oh, do you want to accept credit? And I'm like, yes, give me that credit. You can also request that you not come up from that drive. If that's true, if it's true that I can actually personally request, don't give me this driver, then I feel like my day is going to be a lot better, because I have only ever gotten stuff handed to me wet 2 times. From that guy, and then from like someone completely different who I think was also like in a car and not like the box bags that you see the riders get and such like that. Oh. And it's so tempting just to like order something like I don't need to eat. Like that's the thing. I like if I think about this critically, I don't need to eat dinner. I've been sitting at my desk. I've only done like 3 minutes of a like bicycle thingy-majiggy, and it wasn't even like my super hardest because I was like, the seat was absolutely terrible. Like, I've not done that much exercise, and I could very well just like I don't need to eat this evening. It's not a necessity, and because even if I do decide to eat, I know I'm gonna order more than I need. Like, I can probably get away with like just going for like a cup of noodles or something like that, and then I just like go to sleep or something. But I had to do that with a woman who accepted my order, picked it from the restaurant, declined, and then the second assigned had to wait for the restaurant to remake it. You called support and will not get my orders to populate for her. That is awesome. Oh no, support. Like, it is problematic that like the whole, because I like the idea of like a food delivery service for a restaurant that doesn't normally do food delivery. That is pretty impressive, but I'm gonna be real with you. The reason DoorDash, Uber Eats, and all them are able to do like that sort of thing is because they just made it absolutely cheap to do so. At any time. Oh, and I feel like, if it wasn't for like the taxi industry, fighting against Uber in Australia and such like that, the Uber, DoorDash, and all them peeps would have like tried to unionize or something. They would have been like absolutely itching to make sure that they are, paid at least a certain minimum or something like that for being available, and for limiting like how far of a drive they might have to do. Ugh. I'm just so sorry for like doing that rant. Oh wait, no, I want to do this with keyboard and mouse. Why do I have why did I plug in a controller? Let's get into the game. If it will do its thing. There we go, it does its thing. Alright,
Glug, glub, glug, glub, glug.
Glug, 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 glug. Alright, close this tab. Pause this music. And then, but yeah, like I don't need to eat. like the point of me wanting to eat would just be like some weird like mood swing thing, but then it'd keep me up for like well beyond like the time I need to like be awake and such like that. So there's no necessity to it. It's okay. We still love you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Fucking T-posing. There we go. Also, does it sound okay to you? Also, why can't I grab him? But yeah. You don't know how tempting it was to just go on like however long of a rant and then just decide, hey, I'm like, and that's it for the stream. Half an hour done. We're ready. Sounds loud as fuck. Hang on. Audio mixer. The fuck was that?
They put a cannon on a nearby building. To the east. Take it
She's
down.
not okay.
Aiden.
But yeah, I think I see why. It's because it's at -3 point something or other. I can probably put it down to negative... Oh, wait, no, that's comms that I was looking at. Game... No, game catcher's at -5.
One more hit'll destroy the fisheye. Hurry!
Oh, hang on. It's doubling up. Advanced audio thingy... Like, hang on a second. For some reason, comms is going off twice. So, like, there's a... Welcome back. Hang on a second. Capture audio from Discord, Steam... Alright, I'm gonna remove the Steam, so it's only Discord and Telegram. So it's only capturing from those two. I hit OK. There we go. Disable the thingamadigi on the roof. Ah, okay. There we go. Oh, oh yes! I am a madman. Oh, that is not how we were going to do that. There we go. And then... Shit. Damn it. I'm just gonna kill myself. Hang on a second. Also, I forgot how to do, like, things. Oh, there we go. There we are. We're good. It's gonna be like that, chat. It's gonna be like that. It's gonna be one of those kinds of streams. Yep. Oh my gosh. And then... I think... We're almost... Oh, there could have been a... Oh my... Hang on. Nah, we're doing this again. It's gonna be even funnier the second time. You don't find these parkour games nearly as fun in first person? Oh no. First person is absolutely terrible in terms of stylized movement. What do I mean by stylized movement? I'm talking about the kind of actions as, you know, parkour or medieval combat. Like, I understand there's like people that are like, oh, Mordeaux is just like the pinnacle of melee combat as you're in first person swinging a bat around. Look, I'm gonna be real with you. You've been sucking on that pill for way too long. It is, like, if you're gonna give me, like, melee combat, and it's important to have spacing and such like that, I don't care, like, how, I don't care how realistic the swings are and such. You do not give it to me in first person when I'm looking at a television screen and I don't get the funky depth perception that an actual, like, true 3D does. Give it to me in third person, so then that way I have, like, my character model with his approximate size and such like that able to, like, you know, do the judging of distance and what have you. This, like, I understand, like, some people... I understand some people like the, you know, the Mordeaux Dark and Darker or Mirror's Edge, but I can't subscribe to that forevers. I'm not, like, I'm fine with first-person, like, shooters when it's something like Doom, Call of Duty, or Battlefield. You know, things that it's like, it's not about here. Your issue is not here in your, like, arm's length environment. Your issue is there, or down there, or maybe across to here. Your issue is, like, beyond your arm's reach. Also, where the hell am I going? Eliminate the renegades on the lower roof. Alright, you know, like, this zip line thingamadiggy, I'm probably gonna...
He's alone. Come on,
Let me just kick you into this wall. There we go. Bonk! Like, this kind of combat in first person, despicable. Like, I do not like it. Especially when they're trying to do things of like, oh, you have to do directional blocking as well. It's like, please don't. Give me For Honor. Alrighty, I got another roof cannon to get rid of. Alright, here we go. Up here. Alrighty, damn it. No. Okay, at least this thing's here. Where's the cinematography? Oh my god, there is none. It thinks the player is a cinematographer. Like, here's the problem is whenever there's games that decide to be like, oh, the player is the content, where it's like, oh, the cinematic look is through the use of the camera mode and such like that to get your breathtaking moments and what have you. It's like, players are not... Alright, you fuck off. Alright, and then disable this. Like, we're not cinematographers. We're not stunt coordinators. We're not choreographers. We're not going to make, like, really good first-person, like, you know, character-made content a lot of the time. That is a niche group. That is 10% of your like audience. 10% of your audience might actually engage in that stuff, and then like 2% of your audience will, you know, actively pursue it or something like that, and, you know, share tips and, you know, get the community more invested in such things. It's like, And you might be thinking, you know, Grant, 2% doesn't sound like a lot. 2% of a million is a fucking lot, okay? 2% of a million is like 20,000. Wait, is that math correctly? 10,000, 100,000, yeah. 2% is still like 2,000. You have like a lot of... You still have like a lot of people contributing with and that's like conservative numbers of like, oh, a game having or maybe let me re-clarify like that. A big popular game like this, 1 million players is probably a low conservative like estimate of how many people they want involved in this thing. There we go. And what's more is, like, right now I'm getting, like, bruise marks in my vision and blood for whatever reason. Like, no thanks. Like, that's probably realistic, but I'm not interested in playing a milsim like Arma 3. I'm playing a fucking zombie game right now. Oop. Alright, and now I need a... Where the fuck is it? Oh boy! Okay, so we've disabled the second one. Now we need to disable... Okay, so we're just going straight to the third one then. Alright, I'm gonna need... So I was somehow able to luck... Ah, I see why. It's because of that thing. I'm gonna need another vent, guys. Or, nope, hang on, there's the thingy-ma-dig. God, But yeah, pick that up, just so then that way I'm not, like, sticking to that thing. But yeah. The basic game, like, the average gamer, like me and such like that, even doing this right now is an anomaly of me, like, you know, playing this game and doing like the streaming and such like that. That's a rarity. I'm like probably what, 10% of the audience right now.
They have Frank. They blocked the door. I can't get in.
Ah, shit. I'm on my way.
Here we go. Here we go.
All right, on 3. 1, 2. One move and he dies.
Drop him. Aiden.
Good kill. Who's that?
Everyone all right? Check who needs help and bring in some medics. And make sure there's no more of those fucking renegades in the area.
Awesome.
Yes, Commander.
You all right, boy? Jack, man.
Come on, Frank. You all right?
I saw you fight. What's
Yay,
your name?
we live. It only took us like 4 failures.
We'll be dead. Come on, boys. Search the area.
Sir, I have a question. We're looking for a GRE database.
Most GRE
Thank you, Bone.
have been dead for years.
I
You need
praised
this database.
Twitch for doing an integrated alerts thingy-majiggy, so then that way there would be emojis like thrown onto like the thingy-majiggies. But I'm looking. Actually, you know
Go
what?
on.
Maybe.
He's your friend.
Aiden? You could say that.
I've never heard of you, Aiden.
That's a shame. I'm a legend. Where is the?
I'm a pilgrim. I came from outside the walls.
So you've seen a lot. You probably became thrilled villain.
Yeah, it's
too,
using
right?
it's using the
All right.
it's
what do you
using
wanna
it's
know?
supposed to be
A lot
using
of
the
people have
squat
gone there lately.
thingamadiggy.
We lost our commander, and the Bazarians tried to cut off our power source. They say most of our people have been killed, either by the infected or by those from the Bazaar. I also lost contact with the new commander, Aitor, and his unit.
So
Know anything about them?
like it should be
We found Waltz, but he overpowered us and escaped.
What? Where?
In the tunnels near the car.
But yeah,
plant.
you made
Waltz
squats
decimated
cheaper.
Ader's
Why?
squad.
Because not a lot of them
Managed to
were
escape.
not a lot of people were using them.
I shouldn't have left them like this.
Do you want me to up the squat count? You want me to make the squats more expensive, Bone? I can do that. Like I've got the stream thingy-majiggy right here. It's an odd thing you'd like, you know, you'd want to request because I know how much you love of me to do squats and how you get very mad if I ever. You sure?
We had to
You're absolutely sure? I have it right here.
So you
Like
have to look for it
platform
yourselves.
channel thingamadoogs.
If you find him, give him these.
Nah, I'll leave it at
What are they?
90.
Orders for him and the other units. Move it, boys. Let's go.
But yeah,
Come outside.
so
Talk.
man, I sure hope my mood doesn't get. You will steal my. What happened to my femur? Why are you stealing my kit? I need both of them. I consume so much nonsense. I need both my kidneys to process things. Agents and chapters. You've unlocked agents, represents of the wildcard Vidalore factions. Compete their thematic bounties and unlock a unique assortment. You can find the agents on the map by locating their special icons. Once discovered, you can fast travel to them to get quick access to new bounties. Each chapter update introduces new agents, enemies, encounters, and missions, as well as expanding the scope of previous chapters. Oh, needies. I do not remember this. Agents allow you to browse through and activate different bounties. Completing increases your reputation. Spend chapter tokens and mutation samples on various goodies. My god. Oh, you go suck a lemon bite. Oh, where's... Also, I've got points into parkour I can now do. Increase your overall speed while sneaking. Let's see. Sleek runner, slide. I'm gonna get this wall runner, because I've been, like... Now that things are taller... Hi there, Cosmic! Welcome to the stream! Also, that reminds me, I need to right-click your name and add you to the streamers group. I'm slowly constructing my whatsamahoozy thingamabob. I'm slowly working on my streamer bot, so then that way, when there's like a first word or something like that, it doesn't do it yet, but when there's like a first word for like a streamer, that it will do, like when there's a first word, it'll be like, oh, is this user part of this group? I want to make it so they're like, you know, it checks if the user is part of that group, and then it does like a shout out for them as well. Just so then that way there's like, you know, less me things to do if there isn't that many moderators around or anything like that for whatever reasons. How's it going? I hope you're having a better day than I am. I was expecting my day to be, you know, mediocre and such, and I've just been disappointed, like, here and there. Like, I tried to make my mood better this evening by, like, ordering in food and eating hamburgers, and they just came in soaked.
They hit the canteen.
Aiden!
I don't get to have like my gluttonous burgers, because normally I order like 2 and I get like there's like 3 patties in them.
On the road, as a pilgrim, I had no other choice.
On the road.
Bonk. Bonk.
Don't you wonder sometimes what they gave us to make us like this?
Stronger.
You know, I went on like a 20-minute rant about my day as well before I started before I like got into the game and such like that. Died like 3 or 4 times, and now there's always this like thought of like, do I want to just end stream right here and then just like
Take these orders to him.
just
don't
order in
lose him,
food,
or
eat,
Jack will gut me.
probably be up until midnight, catch up on Berserk.
First,
Oh my
I have
gosh.
to see Frank. You
Has
saw
anyone here been reading
apparently hold
Berserk?
together.
Not watching it, not the whatsamahoozies, not the
Okay.
Good.
not the anime, not the 3D anime or anything like that, or the 1998. There's the manga. No, not the
Built an
anime.
Old Villador.
As I said, not the anime. We're talking about the manga. The manga is like
I blew up
380 issues in or something like that, and I'm like speeding through it right now. I get it now. I get why like Dark Souls makes so many references to Berserk, like with the great sword that they made for it, Berserker, like why there was like a reference of it in Castlevania, because like holy shit, Berserk, like if you just like leave it at the Golden Age arc, it is a fucking depresso for the main protagonist. Like here they did like the Black Swordsman thing, and it's like, oh, the Black Swordsman seems like a bit of a dick. Why would we ever like want to think of him as a cool protagonist or something like that? And then they're like, oh, let us go back to the Golden Age, where we pick up right at his birth, time skip to a child, time skip again as a child, and then another thingamajiggy as a child. Like it is so like what's a mahoozies. There's all these events and such like that, and then you meet up Griffith, and then he does some things, and he's a bit of a dick, and really, like, you know, if you looked at Griffith for a while, you'd understand that he was probably like a very big dick as well, and manipulative. Let me drink my coffee. Yeah, you drink your coffee, and then you can. There we go. I love how this weapon isn't like... It doesn't like alert them nearby. It's just like, oh, they're a guitar twang. You go suck a lemon. I am just... So I might have a little aggression right now. Nice. Just a little bit of aggression. You can't talk big dick without nut. Oh no, he's just a dick. He is absolutely like Griffith is very self-centered, like a huge self-centered. Also, what's up with? Oh, there's something up there. All right, let me just take you down. Oh. Oh, that's if I wanted to use like a stabbing thing, Matiggy, isn't it? All right, so we got 31. Does it get used up when I do it? Yes, it does. Okay, so we're not... So only if we're like pressured for time and we need to... Only when we're pressured for time and we need to like do the thingy-madiggies. So yeah. Cosmic Wolf is doing good? That's good. So you're doing better than me. I really want my hamburger. I'm so mad. I don't know it. I don't know if chat realizes just like how much I was hoping for this burger to like lift my mood, because it hasn't done any of that. All right, here we go.
Container detected.
All right, let's go up this thing. Because what we'll do is I'll just jump across from the top of this thing. So, dun 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 dun. You could always learn to make your own burgers. Okay, I could do, like, maybe if I had the time to do that. I'm just a terrible person, okay?
I remember the time when I was cooking with my...
Alright, and then that's the GRE with there. Alright, so... How do they want me getting up there?
Matt will not forgive the renegades for that.
So I'm not a huge fan of this bloom effect that's going on. Nice.
Bowmaster Dog has added
Yeah.
quote number 442. I am just a terrible person, okay?
You can make your own burgers. I am a terrible person. I don't know if that's a valid reason for me to order in burgers and not learn to make my own burgers. I could come up with better excuses, such as I am fueling the economy. I am doing more for my economy than Jeff Bezos is at the entry level. Alright, there we go. So that's unlocked. Drop this down, so then that way that's available. And figure out how I'm going to get up there. Oh, hang on. Some days this game really is testing my parkour feels. Like, I can do a good parkour, okay? I've gone through all the Assassin's Creeds. I am very much, like, knowing how to do the parkours a lot of the time. It shouldn't be impossible. But this game, and most likely if I ever get into Mirror's Edge, is...
I can't believe I lived long enough to see the electricity turn back on.
Give me this honey and the chamomile. Alright, now I gotta turn on this Jenny. Here we go. Bam, 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 bam. Here we go. I can make you a 2-pound burger that will knock your stripes clean off. 2 pounds sounds like a lot? Like, is 2 pounds really, like, an appropriate amount? I feel like you could have that. Like, I don't know. Like, because I'm a fan of Smash. Like, between Gourmet and Smash, I'm a little more of a fan of the Smash Burger. But I do, like, because I love my beetroot and cheese and lettuce. Like, beetroot is probably, like, one of my favorite of the Gourmet slices. There we go. And then, yum. Alright, now, hopefully, I can just cruise on down. And then... is there an opportunity for me to just...
Luan, nearing Culvert Island.
Great. Frank's out, so I'm on my way. If you get Ro to tell you where the terminal is, let me know. You'll find your sister, I'll find the missing names of assholes for my kill list. Everyone will be happy.
Except the people you shoot.
They won't be in any condition to care.
I just have some violent tendencies I need to sort out. Search you. Plus, I want to, like, try and find some, like, you know, mutagens and shit. The sooner I can, like, get the, like, I want a metric shit ton of, like, the, I want a metric shit ton of the, of, like, the uncommon mutagen, so then that way I can try and do as many of my upgrades as possible. Bonk, and then... there we go. Alright. Nope. Nope. Alright, so I need to find, like, runners, I think. There we go. Yeah, I need to find, like, the stronger... I guess this is why a lot of people normally do this kind of nonsense at nighttime, because then there's, like, there's greater enemies to deal with at nighttime, and there's, like, a greater, like, danger and such. You hate burgers because of the word beef in them. No, I don't hate burgers because of the beef, okay? I am a fan of the beef, okay? This is a growing problem. I could, like, if I could just not get into, like, hamburgers, like, every 2 or 3 days, if I didn't feel
Lieutenant Rowe?
so consumable, would have been better.
He went off with a squad to New Dawn has Park. added quote number
I'm Lieutenant Grady.
443. I
Great.
just have some violent
Guess I gotta keep
tendencies to
going.
work out okay.
What are you talking about?
Yep.
Show me those orders, son.
I was
Exactamundo.
supposed to give them directly to Rowe.
And I'm
all this is going to be sorted out by the time we get to Wednesday, when I got to do some Blender 3D stuff. I have to work on something fun. I want to make myself a mech pilot suit in preparation for Fires of Rubicon.
He didn't seem too eager to explain.
There's already a latex material, but I need to do other things to the latex material, so then that way it looks a little bit sci-fi, and I think I'm going to make it like the same color as either... Shinji is just is a whiny bitch. I don't know if I'm going to do Shinji's suit. I'm either going to do Asuka's or Zero Suit Samus.
Go arm the survivors. Then we roll.
If I were you, I'd give them plenty of weapons. The renegades sent a whole detachment to the
Have you
fisheye.
tried a zebra meat? I have not. I have not eaten zebra before. That feels a little bit cannibalistic as well.
Not sure if they made it yet. You take these to them and tell them I'm on it. Better
So yeah,
than me, buddy.
you'll clip that announcement. Ah, yes, the me making the zeros. So yeah, and you can quote me on that one.
Yeah.
Shinji is a bitch. I don't care that it's a realistic depiction of PTSD.
Sorry, civilian, but we have
It's unrealistic to put a child as like the mech pilot and shit. There are so many people in the army who are probably got like moms dead and shit like that. You have so many better peeps to choose from.
Hey, what's wrong?
This. We should stay.
There we go. All right, I could not be bothered. All right,
Come in.
Yunk. There we go.
Luan, I'm going to New Dawn Park. Apparently Ro went there.
I still don't understand why the renegades attacked the fisheye.
Well, Nasty Dog has book number 444. Shinji is a book.
Yes, thank you for agreeing with me.
No fucking clue what's going on in his head.
The butcher. Tell me more about him.
The Colonel. He's the leader of the renegades. He gave the order to douse the city in
Chat
chemicals.
has come together and
Back
thinks
when
you
my
should
parents
do 10
died.
squats during
I'm
the
sorry.
I'm not.
Alrighty, so I gotta do some squats. I don't have to do a lot. Your sub expired?
He was drinking.
Yeah, sorry, furry cures.
That's how you ended up in Waltz's program?
So yeah, not a lot of people sub and gift sub to my thingy-majiggy, so to try and make some money and what have you, I gotta do my squats and what have you. Sorry, not my squats. I gotta do my advertisement. Here we go. An easy 10 squats. Big stretch. Big stretch. All right, here we go. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you, Bone, for the 10 squats. I know it was you. I know it was you that did that redeem, and so I'll thank you directly instead of just thanking chat. Alrighty, let's see, crafting, no. Because let's see if we can do some, upgrades. Because, oh yeah, no, that can't be upgraded, but this one can. I'll remember to do, so 10 more at the next advertisement. Alright, modify, let's see, so we got level 3, spark, now level 2, alright, so we're gonna go spark here. We got so many electrical parts. Spark here. Got some cool charms, they're not useful. Let's have a look. So this is common long sword. Let's see. One-handed mace, hammer. So 61. All right, so this is 60, 60, and then 30. So that's a 3, that's a 2, so 4. And that's a unique one-handed machete. Not really. Also, why is a gun hammer like? Oh my gosh. Not important. All right. Dismember. We'll get rid of all the weak weapons. All right, and then this one, I am going to make it. I'm gonna make it this thingy-majiggy, just to see what it's like. And then this is gonna get dismantled. So yeah, because like, yeah, these are 2s, and I'm already picking up like rank 4 weapons, so yeah, because that's 61, and then these are just 40s.
Bone Dog paid me to say, but is that a yes? You want to try my £1 burger that will knock your stripes off?
Here's the thing. We're not in the same state. We're not even in the same country as far as I know. We are so far away. Also, why did my thingy-majiggy decide to scroll? There we go. All right, so that's a safe zone. Random thingy-majiggy, random thingy-majiggy.
And your parents? Remember them?
No. I just remember the hospital, the pain, and the fire. Right before they split me and Mia up.
There we go. Oh my gosh, this wall running is going to be so useful.
Let's focus on the job, okay?
Okay, tough guy. Last one there's a rotten egg.
I can't ask for Bone's recipe. That's not fair. That is not fair to Bone. I can't go asking for their recipes. This isn't a cooking stream or anything like that where I'm trying out like different viewers recommended cooking ingredients and things. All right. So we got a thingy-majiggy over there, and then. Thank you for falling to my death. There we go. Oh, where's the... There it is. Here we go. Go. Okay, maybe I wasn't supposed to... Oh, here we go. Climb up this. Ding, 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 ding. God damn it, Uraneazak. I have spoons as well. Like, I know how to cook. I just don't do it often enough, and I'm just not in a mood to do it this evening. There's a lot of days that I'm just not in the mood to cook. Like I said, there's like moods. So many moods. Alright, and then... There we go, and then... There we go. go. Can you, like, just die, please, dude? And, of course, he decides to fart. If you want to be violent, just play Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's coming out in September, I want to say? And what's more, that's a fighting game. I feel like fighting games are, like, deceptive in their whole, oh, are you going to, you know, play, like, violently and such? Because here's the thing, is, like, fighting games, yeah, might be violent and such, but here's the thing, is that you can't be mindlessly violent. It's like Dark Souls. You gotta put in the time.
And of course he had to fart.
Thank you for the quote. Oh boy. There we go. Flour and thingies.
Go suck a lemon.
You go suck a lemon.
Yeah. Go suck a lemon.
You go suck a lemon. Oh, search. That's the button. There we go. Damn, you got fucked up. Also, hi there, Masonic. Slow down, Grant. Too hard, you'll break it. There we go. Yonk. Dark Hollow, scavenge for that. Nice. Slice your heads. There we go. Alrighty. Do I get any pieces from you? Not from you guys. From you, perhaps? Nice. Alright, so we get a rare mutagen sample. He's a big dude. Alrighty. Looking around, trying to find some enemies, some... Oh, so something over there. Nice.
Go suck a lemon.
You go. Nice. Oh, that's cool. I get to keep the... Yes! Chopped his fucking head off. Alrighty, let's see, is there anyone else around here? We're doing all this for the gram. There we go. Nothing in you. Pick you, pick you, pick you. Grab yous. Nice cute rating. Alrighty, grab you, grab you, grab you. Nothing worthwhile from yous. The hell is that? Ow. Oh boy. Cook it in the bone marrow? Nah. We ain't cooking bone marrow. I don't subscribe to the bone marrow nonsense. Snap your neck. And of course you go in there. Parkour challenge, cool. I'm doing this chase just so then that way I can like just get the fun thingamadiggy of like traveling a certain distance with only like while on like a certain threat level. It will be fun, especially when I grab these thingamadiggies. Oh, is the hunt over already? Oh. There we go. Yonk. Jump, jump, jump. Oh, they're keeping up. There we go. Oh boy. Are they keeping up? I can't see. Yep. Oh, and those are even like the big... Those are just normal fry from the looks of it. Go. Oh, how did I do that? Alright, well this is how I get the uncommon trophies, it seems. Yonk. Pick up the arrows, search this thing. There we go. That's just an option. Your family lived on a farm and we waste nothing. I have a friend who came from a farm like up north or something like that. And apparently like he was able to like raise his own cow, but he had to like take it to slaughter and such like that. Cause like they like basically they were raising the cow to, you know, fatten up and such. I had to get out of the safe zone because I wanted like the good chase. There we go. Keep it going. Man, look at this energy. I wonder, is there a way for it to get to tier 4? Would be nice if it could. Okay, why is there just like random monitors like... There's just like random monitors lit up and such. That's not how monitors work. They don't have like a backup battery to do all that.
Go suck a lemon.
You go suck a lemon. Here we go. Yeah! Tier 4! Let's go. Alright, now we gotta go running for distance. Here we go. 1,000 meters. Here we are. Oop, Jesus. We can do this. Oh. Anyone on the ground is neutralized. Alright, so 1 kilometer. Here we go. Alright, so 350. Alright, let's have a look. 400 meters. Okay, flying does not help in the distance. Neither does nearly dying to these guys. I'll survive this, don't you worry. Oh, he's catching up. Alright, 70. Oh, Jesus. Nice. Ducking and weaving. Here we go. Meters. Nope. Oh, Jesus. I'm still alive. Here we go. $950 meters. Here we go, here we go, here we go. There we are. Alright, here we go. There we go. Oh, Jesus. I need to find my way out of here. Hopefully this is the right direction. For the next 10 squats. And... Safe zone. Hopefully this is an actual safe zone. There's all kinds of, like, thingamadoos here. Yeah! Hunt's over! We did it! We survived. Alright, we got all kinds of consumables. Don't care for any of the extras. Oh my gosh. 14 uncommons. 30... We have a lot of rares and uniques out there. Alright, go to sleep. And we wake up the very next day. 11 hours until nightfall. Oh my gosh.
Aiden, you've been around a while. You're practicing.
Alright. Oh, so close!
One of us now.
Alright, so we need to go... that ways. Alright.
Been 11 years since the chemical bombings almost killed everyone in the city.
Alright.
Did you hear?
Champs! I wasn't able to grab the edge as I intended. Let me just, like, respawn in last story point. Just so then that way it puts me, like, somewhere a little bit closer. Yep, like this here. Yeah. And then...
Leave me alone, please.
Hey, I'm looking for Lieutenant Rowe. You seen him?
He probably hasn't.
Who are you? Why do you want to know?
I have
Jesus,
orders
you're a
from
kid.
Major Matt. Lieutenant Grady said he was here. It'll be okay. Where's your squad commander?
We were making camp when renegades attacked us. Rowe and the others, they...
You have it down to a science, do you?
And
What do you
they
have
went
down
after the
to
ones
a
that tried to run.
science?
What about you?
Couldn't keep up.
Also, that reminds me,
We
I need
lost
to
contact with
see whether or not...
Then another group attacked me. What are they doing here? The renegades weren't attacking our positions in the center. Oh, fuck.
Hey! Still some rats here!
Oh, we gotta deal with those guys.
Go to hell!
Sure! Already leaving. Aren't we, gentlemen? Let's get them!
Ow. I wasn't in the right tab.
Prepare yourself!
Strongest guy in the room, and he just gets absolutely... There we go. So long as you throw them to these spike walls, they fall so easily. It's great. It's the best way to if you can, like, kick them, you can throw them to a wall. Alrighty, you, help me.
Hey.
Get out of here.
We're safe now. You can come out. So, where's Rowe?
Camp was supposed to be up there on the hotel roof, by the junction with Newell's Drive. There's a winch in the back of the building. You can take that up. If they haven't been able to come back yet, that's where you'll find them.
Thanks. If you can make it back to base on your own, go there. And don't let yourself get chased into a box again.
See you in 6 minutes? What's happening in 6 minutes?
Luan, I've located Rowe. A hotel by the Newell's Drive and Berrien intersection.
Congrats. One big thing before the meeting with Rowe. He's got a fucking hair trigger temper.
Yeah, Grady already warned me. As long as he has info on the GRE database, he can be as pissy as he wants.
Brave man. We'll talk after you meet him. See you there.
Can I loot you? There we go. Here's a perk I wish they had. I wish they had it where if you assassinated or did a takedown on someone, that you just auto-loot their shit. I feel like it would save so much timing, especially when I deal with these things. And there we go. Alrighty, We don't need the bottle. Let's get up. Yum. There we go.
Better stay on our toes.
Hello. Free the prisoner. Here we go.
Get the scumbags.
Search this.
What the hell? What play? Just got the chill in my spine. Am I seeing things?
Yep. Give me a sec.
Here you go.
How's it going? On bro yet?
Not yet, but I ran across some renegades.
Shit. Hang
Alrighty.
on. I'm on my way.
Quick! Help me!
Free some peers.
Renegades' asses.
I think I am going to honestly call this a night. Oh, the temptation. An hour and a half in, I am just. Oh. You having fun there? Alright, dink, donk. Oh boy.
Chat has come together and thinks you should do 3 squats during the break.
Container detected.
Is that what you were counting down to? Alright, let me... Alright, so I gotta do 30 squats, is it? Alright, that should be easy enough to do once I get off to here. Hide. Alright, here we go. 30 squats. Big stretch! There we go. Up. Cord tangled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Thank you for the 30 squats. Thank you for the 30 squats.
I wish Bizarre folks would talk to us more. This feud is silly. We all want peace.
Everybody, shut up.
Something funky's going on.
Okay, cool. You didn't burn alive? Excellent. Alright, free the prisoner.
Oh, that was close, man.
Oh, is that what you were counting down to? Is when you could give me the next squat, was it? Thank you. And there we go. Free this prisoner. Alright, inhibitor container up there. Alright, next floor. Let me open it, please.
Good. They're taken care of. Check the status of the squad downstairs.
Yes, sir, Lieutenant, sir. Hey, the renegades outside? They won't bother you.
You took them out? Who are you?
Aiden. I got orders from Jack Matt.
Well, fuck me. Let's look at what Santa Zelza brought us.
What orders you got? I didn't bother reading.
Withdrawal? Now? This is some kind of fucking joke. Know how many men I lost to secure this miserable plot of land?
Look, I don't, Lieutenant, but I have other...
5 of our very best. Barthez killed more virals than an entire unit. Sierra and Little Ron, they've been fighting at my side since before the fall. They gave their lives for that scrap of the city, and now what? I'm supposed to pull back?
Yeah.
I'm looking for access to the GRE database. I hear you know where you do that.
Yeah, I do. Why the fuck would I tell you the circumstances? I got important business to attend to. Get outside. Okay, gentlemen. Gather the dog tag to the fall. It fucking sucks. But an order's an order.
Bro, wait.
Lawan.
Anyone else getting echo? It should, hopefully not. It might have been because of accidentally skipping.
And you're gonna tell us.
Or alt-tabbing.
You wanna drag this out, or take care of it here and now?
Fuck. Why are you after the database? I've heard it was stored on servers in the Observatory Command Center.
I'm just gonna do this.
But that building was destroyed in the
that.
attacks years ago. The bombings came one after the other, like we were the fucking Viet Cong. Nothing was left. Understand? Nada. If you want, check for yourself.
I took like a little like minute-long replay thingy-majiggy to see whether or not it might have just been might have been something that you mentioned earlier, or if it was something before you mentioned it. All right, open this thing because it gives me container. Gives me 2, not perfect, but it gives me a little better than nothing. All right, you talk.
Next? Didn't you hear? That database sounds long gone. So much for discovering the mystery of our childhood. I'll go back to looking for the shits on my hit list. And you? You can enjoy life in the center.
Maybe Ro's wrong. Maybe something survived intact after all.
The Butcher dropped chemicals. The place was reduced to toxic rubble.
You giving up?
Are you deaf or dumb? Those chemical bombs destroyed everyone and everything they touched. This was a...
I'm going...
Then you're...
So?
All good thing? The Butcher and the pricks from my list? I'm going back to looking for them.
Yeah.
He probably knows what happened to her. If I find him...
Take care, Lord.
I'm really not going with you.
Yay. All right, cool. So that's that. Observatory is 700 meters that way. Here we go. Do you ever feel like you're overstimulated? You can feel everything from every muscle moving to your teeth?
Hello? Hello?
Not to that level, but I have definitely had like some level of overstimulation here and there from stuff. $400 meters. Okay, that's even easier. I wish I could go faster. So yeah, I've definitely had the feel, like, I've had the feeling of my brain, like, feeling squeezed or something. But not like, you know, someone's physically squeezing it, but more like the opposite, like the brain just wants to grow kind of thing. Alrighty, so 200 meters then. There we go. Then... Oh, I can't pick... Oh, but I can pick you up. And you. And then there's a thing over there. Here we go. Burn! There we go. Ow. Okay, so he still has range when trying to get... Alright, I need to get out of there. Alrighty, 230 meters that away, then. Yunk. Yunk. Climb up. Alright, here we go. Yump. Alrighty, let me get rid of the big guy. You and there we go. Hey, I'm able to actually like shoot through windows. That's kind of cool. Cordyceps. Ignite use. Because I can. Check use. Alright, cool. Did it really, like, destroy the... Nope, there it is. Cool. I was worried for a second. There we go. Alright. I'm gonna need to open that at some point.
You ain't no fucking... You down!
There we go.
You're it!
Yoink, and bam! Did that break you? Yes, it did, by the looks of it. And... Ow, not the jumping fuckers. There we go. Come on. Yes, I don't know. Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know. Doesn't know. Doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know. Doesn't know. Doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know. Alright, here we go. There. Thank you for the next 10 squats. Alrighty. So... craft these. There we go. 150 meters that direction. You can be rich too! Borrow money for investments. Please do. Do not do that. I subscribe to the do not borrow money. There we go. And that still doesn't kill you, does it? But that will. There we go. Just absolutely whack his shit. There we go. Nice. Alrighty, grab this. Sling up. Oh, it's 100 meters that away. Okay. Oh, I remember this, approximate location. This rings some bells. And then... Yonk. Yeah, here. There we go. Ow. Just gonna stand up here and push him off. Because they're gonna be an idiot and climb up here. And there. Alright, a lot of these guys are dead, which is unfortunate. Connection to the game session you've tried to join cannot be established. That's cool, because I wasn't trying to join it. I am just doing my own thing. There we go. Pick up the throwing knives while I'm at it. We're gonna shovel. You good? Alright. Pick up some poppy. Can always do with some more poppy.
They can't bother you now.
Bonk, bonk, bonk.
What happened here?
We were just working. Then they attacked. Went for our supplies and cut down anyone in their way.
Yeah, but not everyone. The others, where are they?
I didn't see anyone else. They must have been taken. Oh, God. Maria, Robert, they took my friends.
You know where they would have taken your friends?
The border between the Butcher's turf and ours is close to here. That's where the renegades have their camp. Will you help them? Please? There are no peacekeepers here. No one to help them.
I'll try.
Thank you. Be careful. They might have outposts along the route. I'll guide you over the radio. My name's Casper.
Alrighty. Oh, I need to craft some healing items. And then lockpicks. Doing fine with spears. Donk. Ding. Bam. There we go. Alright. We do not have chamomile for all those things. Endurance and regeneration. Temporarily regenerates a small amount of health over time. 2% per second. Okay. And then, yep, so that's my lockpicking things. Skills. Hey, there we go. Increase the momentum of throws from with a grapple. Head stomps that lay on the ground. Run, press. Perform a drop kick while in the air. Windmill, precision shooting, stab follow-up. When blocking, charge an enemy in front of you and knock him down. Blocking projectiles. Deflecting projectiles. I think I'm going to go with the head stomping. I think head stomping is going to be useful. Alright. There we go. And any of them worth stomping? No. Oh, but we can pick this up. Alright.
I'm in here! Help! That can't be right, ain't there?
There we are. Alright, stab you. Or... Oh, I have to like jump up and stomp him. Okay, it's not just a 1 foot stomp kind of thing. It's 2 feet stomp. That is a crazy amount of curb stomp.
I'm in here! Help! Help me, stranger! Please! Help! I can't die like this!
Bam. Yay, you're rescued. I don't know why you were trying to... Maybe you were trying to hit the zombie instead. I'll take the fire resistance booster, thank you very much. There we go. Alright, time to get back up there. Here we go. Alright, here we go. Picked. Alright. Dink. Alright, gotta find some renegade stuff.
That survivor was right. Something is really fucking wrong here.
They're
I'm at the
weird
first
is what
outpost.
they are.
No sign
Hi
of
there,
friends.
Code! Welcome to the stream. How is your evening going?
Catch them before they get there.
Hopefully you're doing an okay. Hopefully you're doing better than me.
I don't understand. They said the renegades are dangerous, but the ceasefire lasted for years. It's as if they no longer fear the peacekeepers. What changed that?
Maybe we're about to find out.
Chaos.
I'll be in touch.
someone's been encouraging chaos. Alright, 85 meters, easy enough. Oh, we need to go floor down. There we go. Wait, was he about to drink the Molotov? That would have been weird. Alright, throwing knife, throwing knife. Damn it. There we go. Sleepy, I see. Okay, fair enough. It is what it is.
No one here either.
They might have stopped at the overlook by the windmill on Garrison Boulevard. Hurry up. If they reach camp, it'll be much harder to rescue them.
I'll catch up to them.
I think I saw who was commanding those renegades. It was Elias. He was a survivor. Lived in the area 2 years ago. He was a lawyer before the epidemic, a man of principle. Then he disappeared. There was a lot of talk about it.
It disappeared.
A year ago, this guy came sniffing around here. One of the butcher's men, they said. And that he worked for the GRE back in the day. He tried to talk people into going to the dam. Promised them weapons. And the ones who did never came back. When I saw Elias just before, he looked strung out. Like he was on drugs. His eyes, terrifying. As if there was no one left behind them.
I'll look into it.
Come on, there we go. You're making dinner at the moment? Aw. My day had, like, it's been a bit of a mood. My day was, I wasn't expecting much, and I still got, like, disappointed in my day and what have you. And then when trying to feel better with, like, ordering in, like McDonald's for the hamburgers and such, guy gives me the McDonald's, and there's, like, Coke all inside the bag, like, all over, ruining everything I've ordered. As tempting as it would be to order it again or something like that, and ending the stream here, I feel like I would be awake for far too long. And I would just have to... Alright, where am I going next? Go, and then... Yep. 40 meters up there. Okay, that's a headshot. How are you still alive? You lost track of the timer in your head? Probably best. Probably for the best. Alright, arrows, brick. There we go. Bam! Alrighty, now to find the survivors and free them. Wherever they are. They're probably dead for all we know. Alright, looks like it's somewhere in this door here. This one? Why can't I just kick this door down, honestly? Determination! Yeah, I try. Although brain is now just sort of like, I just want to... Alright, here we go. Yay, I made the right decision. Unless... That's the wrong decision? No. Alrighty then, here we go. Unless... There we go. Thankfully, it wasn't that big of a drop. Oh no, it wanted me up there. God damn you. Why do you do this to me, game? Why do you make me, like, question my, like, investigative skills? Sucks to be that zombie. And then dink, and then bam. So now we're back up here. Is that because they're somewhere over here instead?
What the shit?
Let's come together. I think we should do 30 squats.
Alright. Here we go. 30 squats. Another 30 squats. Oh. Big stretch. Maybe that is what I want to do. Maybe not a hamburger, because I don't want to get the DoorDash delivery guy that effed that up. Maybe a pizza. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What's this notification? Ah. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Thank you for the 30 squats. Time to modify stuff. Restore some durability when I do this as well. And there we go.
You are so fucking dead.
Ah!
Did you see it?
Oh, I'm back over here. God damn you. I did not see it. Oh. Hang on, I need a... God damn this, like, fucking lens flare thing. There we go. And then...
Sipping time sponsored by Code B.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. Across to here. There we go. Okay, so he was trying to, like, drink his thingy-madiggy. Okay. Darn it. Did it.
You're gonna help me work up an appetite.
There we go. Search you, pick this up. Search you. Alright, so that's one. There we go. You'll die. Easy. And then... There we go. Another one bites the dust. Yunk. There we are. Dinner time. Fair enough, Code. I hope you have a good dinner. Laters. Oh, hang on. Is he... Open this. Hopefully. Oh, come on.
Too veiny. Too many muscles.
Quiet. What are you doing here?
Let these people go.
Oh, don't think so, PK Puppet Boy. You're gonna strangle on your strings. Curtain's coming down on all of you. But we
don't care.
Ain't got no strings. He cut us free.
What the fuck are you...
The Master freed our bodies and minds. You can join us.
Nope.
Thanks for the offer.
You understand.
Intruder over here.
There we are. Oh boy. Just running and button mashing as hell. Oh boy. Let's try this again. No, don't put me, oh my, don't put me all the way back here. Hi, YY. I'm just not in a mood. Like, this is, I am honestly just not. My day is being ruined. I just want to read Berserk. It's way too late to eat now. I'm gonna be like wide awake at like 9 p.m. or midnight. It would be a terrible idea. I want to just end the stream here. I'm hangry, but I don't want to eat. It's too late in the night. How are you enjoying the game? Absolutely terribly. I am enjoying it absolutely terribly. Because my day has been ruined. And I make some silly mistakes in this game where it's like, yeah, I'm kind of fine with that. But then I just started making like all sorts of problematic, like all kinds of like problem mistakes kind of thing. And it's just sort of started, it all started like getting to me. And it's like, I probably should have like taken it as a sign like so early on into like the end of the day kind of thing, where there was just so many things that was like, oh, this wasn't planned, but I'm going to give it a try. And it didn't work out. I should have taken that as a sign of, you know, calling it early, calling it quits, and getting on with something else in my day that doesn't have such a high commitment. Like reading Berserk. Like, as tempting as it would be to have like pizza or McDonald's at this hour, it's like, I just don't want to be wide awake in like midnight or something like that. And I can just do the order in like maybe tomorrow as like an afternoon, like as a lunch to treat myself or something like that, rather than as like this really late dinner. Like I can't stand dinner at like 7 p.m. I don't know why. Like 7 p.m. dinner is just not my thing. It's not my thing. I don't think I can do like a late dinner. I'm too indoctrinated to being around like kids and things like that, and having to like start the stream earlier or something like that. Let's have a look. It's a really fun game, but my BF always judges me when I fail parkour. Oh, parkour is probably one of my least favorite things to do in first person, okay? First person games, I'm sorry, but if you're a fan of first person games when it comes to like the like parkour or melee comp, you know, things that are arm's reach from you, it's absolutely terrible. I do not recommend the first person perspective. It's just not great. It's just not fun. I deal with it is what I do with it. Let's go raid Inverted Bolt. Hangry, but too late to eat tonight. Do I have a scream thingy-majiggy? No. That's gonna be our raid message for Inverted Bolt, as they're going through Detroit Become Human. We're gonna get us some like nice, slower sort of pace in terms of like combat and such. And what's more is it's in third person, which is so much better and such like that. This mood hopefully should not be a problem come Wednesday. Wednesday, I'm going to be going through 3D Blender / Substance Painter, because one of the things I want to do is I want to work on an outfit for when Armored Core comes out on Friday. I've not yet purchased Armored Core, mind you, so I still don't have like a 100% reliance that I'm going to do that, but, you know, it's probably something that I'm most likely going to play, quite frankly, with you, especially since I scheduled it. So I think it would be cool to have a costume to go with it. Otherwise, I want to say thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I greatly appreciate those of you who stuck around and dealt with, like, just my sour of a mood after today and such like that. I don't know why. I just feel so much, like, rage and what have you. It's really weird and really awkward. So hopefully it will be better for Wednesday, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.